setup. Hello! Right, so I'm working on my my tablet. We've got a screen here, as you can see. We've got a Raspberry Pi 0W, and we've got a power kit. This is the my brain has gone to mush. This is the Lipo Amigo Pro. So this is a USB-C charger, and I've got a battery, so it is portable. I've also got a keyboard over here. It's a little Bluetooth keyboard, and there's the battery for it. So I also need my glue gun. I need to glue down the battery. So that's the first order of business. Let's get my glue gun heating up. Oh, too many wires, too many cables. There we go. Now what can I've got a spare socket there. So, my trusty glue gun. I thought they were supposed to be cheap. Hang on a sec. Hello chat room. RPi nice. Yes, RPi nice. Hi, saw my face. Yes, you did. I have a lot of those. Why a Raspberry Pi is so damn expensive is because there's a shortage right now. It's the same as when there was a lack of GPUs. Though there are Raspberry Pis releasing right now on Rapid Online and Pi Moroni. They currently have the Raspberry Pi 3A Plus available for around £28. That's a quad-core processor with half a gig of memory. So if you want to grab yourself a Pi, there's about 150 of those in stock right now, so you probably want to do it sooner rather than later. Thank you for liking the live, Pemi. I appreciate it. Sorry if I get people's names wrong. Right, I'm just waiting for my glue gun. I'm literally just going to glue this battery to this board, like so. Actually, I better test it's still working. There we go. And yes, we got LEDs and things. Good. Say what again? Where do I get it? Which Pi model? So that's the Raspberry Pi 3A Plus. I'll bring it up on screen quickly. So you can get it over on Pi Moroni right now. So this will be Raspberry Pi A Plus. So right there, it's currently in stock at £28.50. It's slightly bigger than the Raspberry Pi Zero, but it's smaller than the Raspberry Pi B. It's a quad-core Raspberry Pi with half a gig of memory. So if you're planning to use it for desktop applications, it's probably not strong enough. But if you just want to do some coding, some electronics, and maybe do some retro gaming, which is what I plan to use it for, it comes with a full-size HDMI, it comes with audio out, it's got a display camera, it's micro USB in, and it's got a full GPIO, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on board. So it's quite a good thing to grab right now, given the inflated prices. Yes, if you want to do retro gaming, it's great for that. Shove RetroPie or one of the alternatives on there, and you'll have a reasonable experience. Is this warmed up yet? Yeah, it's starting to warm up. So this is currently on Pi Moroni. Now you can only buy one of these at a time on Pi Moroni. If you want to buy more than one, head over to Rapid Online. So that's Rapid Online. They're a electronics distributor. I've ordered 2 from these guys today. I believe it will run MAME, but it's basically the only Raspberry Pi you can get at normal prices in the UK right now. So, so Rapid Online, that's the other website. You can buy more than one from here. So Raspberry Pi 3. It'll work out what I'm saying. A plus, there you go. So there's the A plus right now. It's down to 139 units. It was 151 when I looked earlier. So the stock is going down. Exactly the same model, but the advantage is that you can buy more than one of these if you want to. As I say, I bought 2 because my Raspberry Pi 2W recently went the way of the Dodo and stopped working. So I'm basically replacing that with one of these for now. And I bought a second one because I like redundancy, basically. Right, so this seems to be hot enough now. So I'm going to begin today's festivities. Nice big word for me there. I can't quite wrap my mouth around. There we go. So I'm literally just going to take this battery and glue it down. Plenty of glue. I want it on those contact points, and hopefully it will hold. So I'm just going to hold that while it sets. Oh yeah, that's set quite well. It's actually a bit of an angle, so I'll just make sure it's turned on. Yeah, I've got some lights and things. If you're in the USA, then the website you want to go to find out your local stock is RPi Locator. RPi Locator, I think it's .com. There you go. So RPi Locator will give you a list of available models. They don't seem to show the US, I'm afraid. So I can't comment on that. You may need to find whatever the US equivalent of RPi Locator is. But if you're in Italy, I don't know what CH is, probably China. PALADE will be Germany, I suppose. Whatever the country codes are, I'm not following. Anyway, basically the models that seem to be out right now are the Raspberry Pi A pluses. Yes, I'm live on 2 accounts. Thank you for the diamond, the rose. I appreciate anything people give me. All gifts are converted over to electronic project ideas and basically get put back into the channel so I can buy interesting stuff to show you guys. Right, so I'm going to squeeze a little bit more glue, just for paranoia's sake, on the back of this, just to see if I can hold it in place. Hopefully that will stop it from coming loose too easy. A little bit down the side. I know I'm putting way too much on there, but once this is sealed in the case, I don't want to go in there and detach it, basically. So hopefully too much is a good idea right now. Right, so that's all I need for that glue gun right now. Anything else would be soldering. I did think of soldering it there, but I do want to be able to remove it if I need to. What is it, Python? Did you fix the sensor problems? Yes, I did fix the sensor problems. It wasn't Python, it was my connections. Once I went to a direct cable connection, I had far fewer problems than I did with that thing I tried to solder. I tried to be too clever. I tried to over-engineer a problem with this, and it basically, these connectors are not working properly. Probably the amount of time I had trying to solder the things together, I probably melted something I shouldn't have. And yeah, so that board is now not working at all. Hey, I have returned. How are you? Welcome back, Luna Fox. I am good, thank you. How are you? There we go. So I've got my chats up on screen still. So anyway, as I say, this is the keyboard module. This will connect to this USB dongle, which connects to this USB port here, using a shim. So you can pick these shims up. What's a good £10 wasted? I'd say the cheapest Raspberry Pi at stock price right now is the is on Rapid Online or Pimaroni.com. Right now they are offering the Raspberry Pi 3 A Plus at normal prices. So that's about £28 for the board. Okay. So as I say, this dongle connects to this board here. This is a Bluetooth keyboard that I pulled out of another project. So this will just plug in here, like so. And I've got Bluetooth in my tablet. I have a Pimaroni Lipo Amigo Pro board here. This will charge the battery and the device. I have soldered some wires to Dev V and VBAT. Sorry, Dev V and ground is where I've wired these two. Then on pins 1 and 3, I soldered the power connector directly to the Raspberry Pi board. Any ideas where you get an RCA to HDMI conversion cable? Not sure, to be honest. It's not really something I've done for a while. So yeah, just a Google search is your best bet on that. Right, so I've printed out this front panel here, which I've now got to clean. I'm going to adjust my camera view there a little bit. There we go. Unfortunately, the print kind of went a bit wrong, so I'm going to try and cut this fibre stuff off and see if I can get a clean one. If not, I've got another one printing, so in about an hour or so that'll be finished. So, but basically this will go on top like that, so we'll end up with my screen display of that. I should actually see if it fits. I'm just going to try the display. So the display just fits in like that, like so. Then this comes down over the top of that with a bit of a lip, gets screwed down, and I end up with, is that the right way around? Maybe it's this way around. Right, if you get it the right way around, it does go flush with the device, and you end up with that tablet format. Did you fix the lag on the touch input? Yes, it's fine now for touch input. So basically it goes in like that. I'm just going to try and clean these strands off with a knife. I don't think it's going to come out very cleanly. Oh, it is coming off, sort of. I think a layer of the, as you can see there, it's quite smooth underneath, but a layer of the raft I printed out got stuck and welded where it shouldn't have. So I'm not sure why that happened, but I seem to be able to kind of cut it off. There we go, so it's coming off into layers now. You should never cut towards yourself, as I'm doing. Do not do what I do, do what I say. I'm getting little bits of this stuff in my mouth, so I don't think that's very good. I'm going to end up with little bits of fibre. I'm going to wait for the next one to print out. I think that one's a bit of a lost cause, unfortunately, but it did demonstrate that it fit to shape. So from that point of view, it's okay. But I'm going for a black and white theme, as you can see. I think it's also cracked around here. You can see that the shell has come away from the side there. So not sure what caused it. This is a new filament. Maybe there's a problem with the filament. To try and compensate for this, I've set it to 100% fill rather than a 15% fill on the printer. So it should provide a solid thing without... yeah, it's a prototype. I'll have some better... Once this is all done and I've got all the experimentation out of the way, I'll put the plans online and people can make their own, basically. That's the ultimate goal of all this. Thank you for the likes. I just noticed them at 2.2k. I appreciate that, so thank you very much. So a GT 1070 and a 2nd gen Intel i3. You're going to have some bottlenecks with that one. It will work, but to be honest, you're going to get some bottlenecking. Especially as you're going to be using DDR3 on that one, so yeah, you'll have some issues with that. It's probably better paired with a 700 series or a 900 series if you want maximum amount of performance for the CPU. But that's a guess. You should look at some charts, make sure, and double check. I'm just calling this stuff off the top of my head. So yeah, DDR3 tends to be a bit slow these days, especially when you're pairing up with a 1070. I would go for a cheap Ryzen. They're not that expensive. You can probably pick one up for like 60 quid with a processor. If you don't mind going to like a couple of generations, well, 3 generations old. But it will be a much better performing machine for it. And it'll be DDR4 as well. To use visual code, code on my phone. It's not Android 12, Fox. Downloaded Kai Linux on my phone. It is lagging like hell. Which phone do you have? Right, so I'm going to start putting this stuff together. I can at least get the base assembled while it's all printing out. If anyone else has any other questions, please feel free to ask me. Oh, I need to thread this. So I need to get some screws and I need to thread the holes, and that literally just means sticking a screw in it and threading it down. So I've got a big box of nuts and bolts here that I use. I think this is the 2mm thread. Yeah, 2mm. Where's my screwdrivers? There they are. Here's my pack of screwdrivers. Samsung A40. Probably not the fastest processor in the world on that. Probably not the most amount of RAM either. So that might be a little bit slow for running entire Linux. Yeah, I might want to try Debian based. They tend to be a bit lighter. As you can see, I am using a Linus Tech Tips screwdriver. No, not really. But if Linus is watching and wants to send me one for free, I'll take it. Right, so I need a 2. I actually lost my real screwdriver. I had a better one than this. Termux, I use that one. I don't have any major issues with it. The biggest problem I'm having with Termux right now actually is it gets... I'm going to take a lot shorter screw for this. Biggest problem I have with Termux is under Android 12 and 13, it gets killed in the background unless you turn off a developer flag. Basically, it's phantom processes. You got to turn that off, otherwise Termux gets killed in the background. There you go. So this is just me threading a hole. So when it comes to screwing on the top, it's going to be nice and simple. I've got Ubuntu on a Pixel 3. Nice. Well, Pixel 3's got a pretty decent processor in it. The Samsung A series tend to be somewhat slower. Having said that, I'm using, I think, a 785G processor in my tablet, and I'm having no problems running it on that. So maybe I might be a little bit mean by saying the A40 couldn't do it. It probably could, actually. So I'm not sure why it might be a bit slow. I'll have to do a proper tutorial on how to set up what's we call it on there. Right, so that's threaded now. I'll leave that screwdriver here for now because I'm going to need it later. So I'm going to make my tablet. First of all, the battery goes in the right way. I've designed it to go in this direction. One thing I did find with the power board is I was triggering things like the button and that. So in order to help insulate it, I put a bit of gaffer tape across the board. I'll hold that a bit closer up to the camera. I put some gaffer tape on both sides just to stop any accidental connections. They need to bring back full Linux ROMs for mobile. That will be a community thing. Right, so I'm just going to take this and plug it in here. So now we've got the screen installed, and yeah, Andronix is one I use as well. It's the easiest way of getting Linux on there in my experience. It's a no root method. Right, so I'm going to pop this power in there so it just fits snugly inside. And then this goes this direction. Oh, I need to plug the battery in. It helps when you plug the battery in, guys, just so you know. So the battery goes in here. My printer is clicking in the background. It almost sounds like the Terminator music. Right, make sure I put it in the battery slot because I keep putting it in the device. There we go. There we go. So that goes in there like that. Make sure that's still there. Put this down here. Oops, I've accidentally powered it on. Didn't want to do that. Oh well, you can see the screens come to life. I'll just put it in as is. Hopefully I don't short anything. I have taped over everything to ensure no shortage. But there we go. So that's not quite flush in. Let's get it in there. There we go. That's what I wanted in there. So this is using a Raspberry Pi Zero. The 0W2 I had unfortunately broke and stopped responding. So I'm now booting this up off the battery using a 0W. As you can see, it's a little bit slower. It's basically the speed of an original Raspberry Pi, but it works and it's good enough. And tomorrow I'm going to reprint this base. I'm going to put in the 3A Plus as soon as it arrives. Oh, I'm glad you think my project... No, this is not a Pi Pico. This is a Raspberry Pi W. So I'll show you the proper board. Right, so I've got my box of Raspberry Pis here. I actually organised earlier, which means I don't have to go looking around for everything. So this is the Pi Pico you're referring to. Right there. What I'm using is this Raspberry Pi 0W, so it's a full Linux computer with half a meg of RAM and a single core 700 megahertz processor. Now this is actually the 2W, which has a 4-core processor, but it broke, so it's not working. I will actually try and troubleshoot this one because it is receiving power, and if it turns out to be a surface mounted component I can replace, then I will make a video on that as well. But basically the 0 and 0W are identical boards. They look physically the same, and they're the same size, so that's what I'm powering this project with. As you can see, while I've been yapping on, I have my little tablet loaded up, and as you can see, it's fully touchscreen. Now, the one thing I will say is do not try to run Chromium on this thing. It will kill your memory instantly and slow it down. So I need to actually install a different web browser in this, a lighter one. I wonder if I can actually get this turned around. Did it fit in there? No. No, the case is not fitted for that. Okay, so I can only put it this way around. That's a bit of a shame. I wanted the power at the bottom rather than the top, because you tend to put more stress on when it's coming over from the top. But as I say, I can always reprint this case. I'm fully intending to replace this bottom case for a different Raspberry Pi anyway. I'm just waiting for it to arrive tomorrow. Header pins help as well, yes. Have it like an actual phone. I mean, this is basically, this is a phone size doodah. It's a 4-inch phone, to be honest. So in comparison to my my Samsung, it's about that size. So it is a significantly smaller screen, and I could cut down a lot on the edges around here. I could make it a bit thinner, but I'm trying to make it a bit thicker for durability and strength, because it is 3D printed. If you use something like metal, obviously you could add in a lot more strength for a lot more less material. I also want to design it at some point, so yeah, try not to do that, Dan, that's how you broke it last time. Right, let's put that back in there. This cable's in the way. Oh, I've got the wrong way around, this one. There we go. Now I can actually rotate it in settings, so there is a software setting that will let me put it the other way up. Oh, I just loaded Chromium. No, no, not Chromium. You'll kill all the performance I have. Go away. Yeah, it's just become sluggish. Right, I'm going to bravely turn this off and on again. Right, keyboard. That's what I wanted to test next. I want to make sure this Bluetooth keyboard works with it. I'll wait for that to boot up again. I should have a membrane for the keyboard somewhere around here. Where did I put that? Did I put it somewhere sensible? Because if I did, I will never find it again. Oh, that's my other box of electronics. This is the stuff I use less. Actually, I should put these in the other one. Should move these in here. Yeah, the RAM eater, exactly. The devourer of all memories. Can I actually put it both ways? No, I can't. Not quite enough room. Put it into this display. Actually, no, I'll just shove them in here. That's fine. Yes. First thing I'm going to do with this thing is remove Chrome. Even when I get the 3 Plus, I'm going to remove Chrome, and I'm going to use something much lighter. But as you can see, it's working directly off battery, which is good. If I turn this on, I think this is the Windows key. If not, yeah. So as you see, it's got a little mouse pointer trackpad built into it. So I can now use the trackpad to do things as well. It's got a little mouse clicker on the edge here. If I actually get it on the icon. So as you can see, I've got keyboard and mouse built into it as well. So the eventual design will have this sort of hinged tablet style with a Bluetooth keyboard under it. I need to work on it. I think there's another one that's even lighter. I think it's called Net something. But there's a super light web browser. Updates, click here to install. Okay, so I need my membrane so I know where the keys are. But we do see it working, so that's good. I'm now scanning my desktop for what I'm missing. It's a situation where I had it in my hand earlier, I put it down, and now I don't know where it is. Whoops. I just dropped electronics everywhere. That's fine. I'll clear that up later. Okie dokie, that's fine. Okay, I will stop looking, because the first rule when you can't find something is stop looking for it and you'll probably find it. Actually, I wonder if this one would work. I have a second membrane. It's off a different model, but I wonder if it will work with this one insofar as letters. Kinda, sorta. No. No, it's a nice dream, but it didn't work. So I've actually already 3D printed a case for this. I'll bring that out later. The only reason I'm not using this one is because I don't know where the dongle went for it. I need to keep those together, otherwise I'm going to confuse this one for the one I'm actually looking for. Where did the membrane go? I don't know. What kind of battery does it need? Right, sorry. What are you building, buddy? I just joined. This is a self-styled tablet made out of a Raspberry Pi with a 4-inch display. What kind of battery does it need? Power. This is a 3 battery attached to a Lipo circuit, and that converts it up to 5 volts. Right, so I'm going to put that somewhere where I will never see it again. Did I put it in here? No. Did I put it in here? Nope. Okay, we'll give up on that one for now. Anyway, proof of concept. Keyboard and a mouse is working. Now, do I actually have SSH installed on this? Because I can then remote into it. Accessories. No, it's under preferences. I actually don't need this. I can just touch. Raspberry Pi configuration. This is a Hyperpixel 4, so you get this off Pi Moroni. It comes in this box. It's a 4-inch touchscreen display. It's TFT, not IPS, but it is a decent resolution. Alright, so I'm going to go to interfaces, turn on SSH. And OK. It'll take a moment to think about this. So this is a 480 by 800 pixel display. There we go, that's done now. I'm going to reboot the machine. And that way I can install some lighter software in the background. There you go. Now rebooting. So see that a bit closer up. Thank you for the follow, I appreciate it. I'm glad you like the work. Don't hate that debate. Can you actually get Opera Mini for Raspbian? I'm not sure, so I'm going to check. Got to turn on my other device. So you can see the size difference between the two of them. It is touch, yes, it is touch. They do two versions. They do a touch version and a cheaper non-touch. So if you want to pair it with a keyboard, then you don't have to have the touch feature, and you'll save yourself about a tenner. You're seeing the stellar speed of the boot-up process of the Raspberry Pi Zero. This is why I'm upgrading to the Pi 3A+. And again, if anyone needs a Raspberry Pi, right now Pi Moroni are selling them for 28 quid on their website, or Rapid Online will allow you to buy more than one if you want. But this will be a good project starter for anyone who wants to take up some electronic, make themselves an emulator, all that kind of stuff. That battery seems quite secure, actually. I'm quite happy with that. The clicking in the background you can hear is my printer going on. I'm going to see how much time is left on it. So I've got another 40 minutes before that's done. So in 40 minutes I'll be able to screw the faceplate on, and it will be more or less done as a project. I'm not going to screw this down because I need to extend it out slightly, as you can see, and I'm going to be printing another one of these to accommodate the other printer. I use a Flash Forge. So I use a Flash Forge Adventurer 3. It will make you prints 150mm by 150mm by 150mm. So you can get bigger printers out there, but I like it because it's easy to set up, it's easy to maintain. There's none of this calibration stuff or leveling the bed, which is the thing that really kills most people when it comes to printing. Right, I'm going to turn this off, save some battery. I'm making this, I chose this because it's independently powered, and I don't want power being sucked away from the Raspberry Pi. I want to be able to use it in that. More of a phone than a tablet, maybe an iPod. Well, it doesn't have a cellular function. It doesn't have, well, it does have Wi-Fi, but if it doesn't have a cellular function or GPS or any of that stuff, you can't really call it a phone, can you? So it's a tablet. It's small, but it's a tablet. I'm glad you enjoy my videos. This is a 4.5-inch Raspberry Pi tablet I've built. As you can see, we've got a Pi Zero on the bottom there. We've got a Lipo Amigo Pro, which I've soldered to the power points on the board. No, it's not an iPad. It's not an iPod because iPod has speakers. This doesn't have speakers. This one doesn't even have a 3.5-inch jack, so there's no audio coming out of it. It'll be the world's most silent iPod. But this is something. Well, yeah, it's just this. It's a small tablet. There is nothing that says a tablet cannot be 4 inches. But like I say, once I upgrade to this one here, it's got a 3.5-inch jack. Sorry, 3.5mm jack. So that will give you some audio. Screen with Pi. Yeah, it's called a tablet, mate. I will die on the hill that it is a tablet. I mean, let's face it. We had 7-inch tablets a while ago, and we've gone over 7-inch phone displays. So does that make a phone a tablet? Well, I know they went around and they started calling them phablets for a while, but that was just silly. This is the Raspberry Pi Zero W. It's a single core processor with 0.5 gig of RAM. So it's literally the weakest one you can find. But the only reason I'm using that is because my Raspberry Pi Zero 2W failed. It stopped loading screens and that kind of stuff. Where is it? There it's right here. This is the one I've got to troubleshoot. This one has a quad-core processor and 0.5 gig of RAM as well. So as long as you don't do anything that's memory intensive, like open Chrome, it's okay. Right, I was going to SSH into this, wasn't I? So I've got to find out what the IP address is. Do I do this as a job? No, I do this for fun. This is well, I suppose I kind of do because I'm writing a book on all this. So that it's worked from that perspective. But until I actually make some money, it's for fun. I have that too, even though it's very slow, it can still stand on. Yeah, I mean, I would recommend 720p or lower with this. When I was running this on a 1080p monitor, it was very slow, especially when you loaded Chrome. Once I dropped down the resolution, it became much more responsive. But let's say it's got Wi-Fi built into it, and it's a full Linux operating system with as much storage as the size SD card you want to put in there. It will not accept anything like an NVMe or an SSD because it's only got a 1.1 USB connector. But yeah, it works just fine. I will start to show some more impressive demos, like it running Doom. Everyone seems to want to know if things run Doom, so I'm pretty sure this will. Where's my IP address? No, I don't want to cancel. I was hoping it would just tell me what my IP address is, but it's not. So I'll have to work it out. If config. So I'm loading up terminal now. XBM SCOS. Yep, it'll work well with that. Work as a little TV player, media player, if you don't mind the fact there's no audio. Right, and we'll use the other one as reference. So, if config, I think. You know what? I'm being absolutely silly. I'm just plugging the keyboard. All I've got to do is take this off, pop this out, and I can stick a keyboard in there. That's one of the things I want to do, is extend this port out. So it's actually got an external port on the outside. Though it's only got one I can choose from, so I'll need a hub and it'll get bigger. Where's my keyboard gone? There it is. So this is a micro shim to Type A. Make sure you plug it with the pins down on the plastic bit, otherwise you will short it out and it will reboot the unit. There you go, so that's now in there. So I now have it with a keyboard that is several hundred times bigger than it is. Go. So what's my IP address? 469. Okay. Let's see if I can SSH into it. This will make a fine Plex server, I think. Else when you learn to type. 192. Possible that something's... Well, this could be eavesdropping right now, man-made attack. Add correct host key. Remove with... Okay. It's being extra secure. Copy, paste, remove that one. Let's try that again. Yes, I want to accept the fingerprint. Yes. Password. Huh. What's the password on this thing then? It's not standard and it's not working. Can I ask you for any tip to secure VPS running Ubuntu? Change port firewall. I mean, not really. If you're running a VPS, then you're running a VPS, aren't you? Oh, you know what? I'll ignore that. I'll just do it. Continue doing it with the keyboard. Right. First of all, I'm going to do an update. Sudo apt update. Oh, and you'll see it doing its thing there. I should try and bring this further up to the camera, I think. Or zoom the camera in, make more sense. Can I answer any tip? Yeah, same question. Right. Sudo apt upgrade. Might be an idea to build a port into the chassis to make it. Yeah, I will do with the next version. This is more a proof of concept than the final design. I will have to redesign the chassis later, and I'll add a USB Type A port into it because the Raspberry Pi 3A Plus that I've just ordered will have a full-size USB port. And it would be, the original design was for this to work with it, but I've lost the membrane to it, so I'm not sure what the key buttons are. Right, I better not lose this. That's the dongle for it. So I'll basically put that inside the case, and that gives me access via keyboard. I'll just have a look to see how long I've got on the print left. Another 20 minutes. Right, I'm just quickly looking up best 5 lightweight browsers for Raspberry Pi. Let's see if they recommended. And they put Chromium on there. No, no. Opera might work, but I think it's still a bit heavy. Like Midori, that might work. Gnome web browser and Luna Kit. Let's try that one. Is it still installing stuff? Yes, it is. Wait for that to finish first. Windows on Chromebook. Is it possible? Yes, if you buy a Chromebook that's expensive enough. If you're buying a really cheap one, I wouldn't waste your time, mate. It also depends how much internal space you have on the Chromebook. So if you've got a Chromebook with like 8 gig of space, then you got no chance whatsoever. Shove Android on it. Someone probably said that already. Just use Chrome. There's no reason to swap out the OS. It is what it is at the end of the day. Or you can grab yourself the famous £50 laptop off TikTok. Yeah, don't do that. Did you mean shove Android on this, by the way? It is very slowly installing. If anyone has any questions or comments they want to make to me while I'm updating the OS, please feel free to do so. Will my old phone survive with only Linux installed on it? I mean, there's no reason it wouldn't survive. Unless you do something weird like brick your phone. But just having an OS installed on it won't cause any issues. Well, the thing is, with Andronix, you're just using Termux. So you're still using Android, you're just running Linux under it as an emulator machine. So it's not going to stop anything surviving. You can remove the software anytime you like. It's not a problem. In fact, I use Termux on my Samsung phone and my Android tablet. But there are some problems with Android 12 and 13 right now. It basically kills the Termux processes once it goes above a certain number. So it can stop working for that reason. My other question for you is, what phone do you have? Because there might be other options, such as using DeX instead. Excuse me. Me A2. I'm going to have to look that one up. Let's have a look. Me A2. Is it the light or the full spec? Ah, it's the Redmi 6 Pro, is it? These Chinese phones tend to be a bit aggressive with shutting things down in the background. Is there a way of mirroring the same display on multiple devices? I'm not sure about multiple devices, but you can always Airstream to your TV. If you're going to do multiple devices, you'd probably need a HDMI splitter for that. Not the light, okay. M2, A2, not light. A2 dual SIM. You can pick him up for £79 used on eBay. £259. Okay, let's have a look at the specs. Seems modern enough to run Tux. It's using a 660 AIE processor, so it's not going to be the fastest thing in the world, but it's still not too bad. 4 gig of RAM on the 64 gig model. Okay, so it's got enough RAM, it's got enough processing. You can probably run Tux on it. Can you hack my neighbour's Wi-Fi? Why would I want to? Do you know which runs lighter, Linux or Android? I assumed Android, but now I doubt myself. To be honest, Linux. Linux will run lighter, but it depends which distribution you're running. Puppy Linux, for example, will run in 150 megabytes of RAM. So think about that for a moment. The lightest version of Windows you can get, which will be Athos OS, would run at about half a gig of RAM, but Puppy Linux will run in 150 megabytes of RAM. If you want to use a few more resources for a nicer interface, jump up to something like Linux Mint is a good one. That will use about 280 megs of RAM. So yeah, Linux is usually a very light operating system. It didn't survive the Neath Hunter, no idea what that is. XP, is it with GUI? Don't understand your question, I'm sorry. Oh, you want to hack it for experience. I am not going to promote you hacking your neighbour's Wi-Fi. If you want to find out that stuff, then the internet is your friend, is all I can say. But I don't hack myself, and I'm not going to encourage anyone else to do it. I want to make a custom Monkey Island case for my 3B and call it Piebrush 3D Wood. Sounds interesting. You should send me a photo when you do it. Your battery has run out on the Pi. Probably has. No, it's just in sleep mode. Need to check Kali. People talk about Kali. I haven't used it a lot myself. But it is a very popular one. If you want to torture yourself, go for Arch Linux. Do you know which one's light? Okay, I've already answered that one. I should probably install Kali just to see why everyone loves it so much. Perhaps that'll be my little project for tomorrow. What's your opinion on the flipper dives? I haven't really looked into the flipper device, so several people have mentioned it to me. They said it's kind of a Tamagotchi thing, so yeah, okay. All my screens are going to sleep now, as you can see. Windows Vista was torture. Windows Vista was absolutely fine. The problem was the marketing and people not understanding the system requirements to run it. But I guarantee you that Windows Vista was very little different from Windows 7. They really didn't make that much difference. By the time you went over to Windows 7, if you had Windows Vista updated as far as it would go, it was basically the same OS. I struggled recently to get Ubuntu up on several laptops that sadly use RSD and SSDs. Make sure that Secure Boot wasn't on. That might be something. Put legacy support mode on the BIOS. That will probably help as well. I got a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, but I never used it. Well, you should use it then. That's actually a very nice little machine. It's quad core. I believe they came with about 1 or 2 gigabytes of memory, so it's faster than what I'm running here. You could stick a screen like this on it and happily make yourself a gaming device. It didn't work out because I had to keep the Win install. Now Vista services were messed up, always lagging. Win 7 was so much better. Again, I think you're thinking of Windows Vista when it initially launched versus Service Pack 2, I think it was, when it started getting good. The flipper looks pretty cool. Emulate frequencies, infrared. Oh yeah, I was going to look up the flipper, wasn't I? Flipper 0. So something you can just buy then. So I'm guessing that's the flipper there. Is this selling for £309? No, thank you. Alright, Flipper Zero is a versatile tool for hardware exploration, firmware flashing, debugging, and fuzzing. It's a developer tool. I think I can do all of that just by plugging a Raspberry Pi in. It's got some breakout pins. Oh, I see. It's set up for things like comm communication, is it? Okay, looks interesting. Can I play Apex Legends on a Pi? Yes, you can, but you'll have to have a more powerful computer and set your Raspberry Pi up as a Steam Link streamer. I was thinking you could use the Pi for the same thing. Probably can. You can set up COM ports and all sorts of things on the Pi. I'm genuinely not sure what I'd use it for, to be honest. It looks like an interesting tool. I'm a script kiddie and maybe being modest, I've developed my own Kai Labs, so a mid-grade level. I'm hesitant to order off here, it's twice the price of the company, but they're out of stock. Okay, so it's only supposed to be about 150 quid, is it? Okay. I certainly wouldn't pay £300 for it. Not when I've got all these pies around me. What else have we got? I use RPI TIX on my Pi with my RTL SDR. Cool. They are having volume control errors and launching emulators in RetroPie, sadly. Do I have RetroPie? I do have RetroPie. In fact, I've got a GPIA case which I was running it on. Free rooms on Holiday Inn LOL can access their door codes. Yeah, I don't do that kind of stuff, mate. If you want to go and steal stuff, then you want to go onto someone else's channel, not mine. Your option. Why isn't the preferred OS why isn't Linux a preferred OS in general? Is it security or just awareness? It's not that it's not the preferred OS. It just depends which industry you're in. Linux is massive in server spaces, and it's very big in commercial spaces. But because there's so many different Linuxes, it's not like someone can just go download Linux. It has to be Mint Linux or Ubuntu or Arch. And because there's so much fragmentation, there's a lot more decision to be made. But a lot of people who know about Linux will take their grandpa's old laptop, shove a copy of Puppy or Mint on there, and speed their device up several factors. But if you're working in an office environment, you're going to need tools like Office. You're going to need to use things like Fusion 360, AutoCAD. There's a lot of software that runs on Windows that will not run on Linux, unfortunately. Thank you for the interesting, detailed and knowledgeable content, by the way. I have learned much here. I'm glad you're learning, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. Puppy is with GUI. Yes, it is. I need to get Pi for my PS4 Gold Hen Auto Inject. Don't want to know what that is. Sounds dodgy to me. We use SUSE Enterprise at work. VOP. Yep. SUSE has been in Enterprise for many, many years. Probably since I was in my early 20s. When I need Windows on cheap laptop, I use Atlas OS. Why? You don't need to use Atlas OS. Just install Windows. It's not like they ask you to activate the thing anymore. It's scary. That's how people are stealing the vehicles in our area, scanning the keys. It's been done for years. We've been doing that since the 80s. They brought out radio keys for cars, and people would just sit there with FM receivers and other radio receivers, capture the code, and just recreate it. So it's a little bit more secure now when you've got rolling ciphers and all that kind of stuff. So it's harder to do, but yeah. Replay attack, old, can be done easily, yeah. It depends how smart the system is. Trouble is, tech companies don't generally make very good security people when it comes to physical security, as we've seen with the Apple HomeKit, which was beaten using a small hammer and a key. Just a random key. They just gently tapped it into the lock, and because it didn't have any security pins, it just popped open. You didn't even need to attack the electronics on it. But yeah, Linux is very popular. A lot of people use it. They just don't tend to use it for gaming, and they don't tend to use it in the commercial space, because the average user just wants to buy a computer and they will run whatever comes with that computer. You will find a lot bigger uptake with Linux if people sold more Linux laptops. And we've seen this with Chrome. Chrome OS, if you just release that as a download, hardly anyone would use it, but because they make specific machines and they market it to the general public as a very easy to use computer, and they sold it in education extremely aggressively, it's now become another device that's very popular on the market. Yes, Linux is usually used in back-end commercial stuff. I mean, there are companies that do sell machines outright, like System 76. I think Framework will give you the option of Linux. But yeah, 99% of the time, Joe Average will pop down the road, buy whatever they want, because it's just there and they're not really wanting to think about it. Only know about Dell selling Linux laptops. Opinion Chrome OS is fine for all it is. It's a web browser, and the web itself is an operating system these days. You want to run yourself a word processor, go on to Google Docs, spreadsheets. Heck, if you want to use Microsoft Office, you go on to office.com. There's no reason not to use Chrome if you're a light user. If you're a developer, no, it's not Android. If you're a developer, then you're not going to be very interested in Chrome unless you're making software for Chrome, because you need access to Visual Studio and the professional grade software. Sounds like my print is done. So there we go. There's my print on the board. I just bend the plate like this and it should come off. There we go. Needs a bit of a polish and a paint, but that looks okay. I printed this one out without a raft because the raft was causing me problems. It feels a bit more hollow than I thought it would. Would you recommend a small secure Linux machine? I want to have it fully encrypted. Head over to System 76, they'll sort you out. Or you can just buy any other computer and install Linux on it. Having it fully encrypted is part of the installation process of Linux most of the time. I know Mint OS will do it. Ubuntu definitely does it. Yeah, most Debian installs will offer you to encrypt your file system quite happily. Right. Oh yes, I was going to install a light web browser. So what did I settle on in the end? LunaKit. Let's see if I can install LunaKit. Sudo apt install EulaKit. It's having a think, and it's installing. Yes. I love the comment about the crumb on the B on keyboard. Lost me on. Please remove the crumb on the B on the keyboard. I'm having OCD. I tell you what, mate. I tell you what. I'm going to help. I will put this on the keyboard so your OCD can focus on something else. There you go. I still use Norton Ghost to replace my Windows. I don't know why you would. You just stick a USB disk into it, a USB drive, and that's it. You're done. You know what? I'm being a bit cruel there. I should at least have another colour. There you go. I'm going to put a random resistor just below that B key to make it more interesting. You're welcome. What would you recommend? Oh, God, I've done that one. Thank you. That's great. Remove the B letter. He wants me to remove the B letter. So I'll just take this knife, shall I, and I'll just scratch off B, shall I? Perhaps not. These things are expensive. I can't afford to replace another one. Alright, so this was done. I'm going to scrape off a little bit of that white plastic that came off a previous print. This is a problem with printing directly to the board. This is a test fit, so it's not going to be the final product. I just want to make sure. There we go. Get a little bit of that off there, so it's a little bit better now. Still got some white on there, but that's fine for now. It is a Pi 400, yes. Oh, virtual keyboard. That's what I was going to find as well. Raspberry. Oh, wrong one. Raspberry Pi virtual keyboard. On-screen virtual keyboard. On OS, a package named Matchbox is available as default. It can be installed to enable virtual keyboard on screen. Okay. Right. Package available at default for Raspberry Pi OS. Still a good start to update your operating system, that's fine. Enable SSH, don't care about that. Install the virtual keyboard. Preferences. Right, so I need to install something called Matchbox. Sudo apt install match. Install Matchbox. Not found. Did I type that incorrect? No, not found. Okay. Oh, it's Matchbox -keyboard. Nope. Okay, I just typed something in wrong. So trouble when it's a tiny screen, I can't really read it. Is it possible to do encryption without reinstalling Windows? Yeah, you just put BitLocker on it. Just turn on BitLocker. Opinion of CBDC. What Linux distro would you recommend for the most compatibility for gaming? I would recommend Arch Linux. That's pretty good for gaming. Or Mint Linux is pretty good as well. No, BitLocker is still present on Windows 11. Yes, I want to install. It's actually easier to read it through my phone screen than to stare at it in real life. Oh, let's turn my printer off. It's whirring away there. I've been thinking of making a home server for a while. But goddamn energy prices. Well, you know what? You can get a Raspberry Pi for £28 and it will use about the energy of a light bulb. Depends what you want to use your home server for. Because let's face it, you can get 1 terabyte SD cards, and you can easily plug in a USB cable. So yeah. What website are you asking for that? AI GPT can write scripts. We will soon be taken over by AI soon. What do you mean soon? We've been taken over by AI for years. Who do you think's processing all your data that Google collects? I guarantee you there isn't a human being doing it. Megatron. Yeah, Megatron is the name of the AI. I think AI is going to end up being like the devil. It will be most effective by people not really realising it's there. Thank you for the follow, I appreciate it. I'm grabbing a screw so I can taper the holes. This will make it easier when I screw everything together. I've already tapered the lower part. When I tried to write a script, it told me to make it by myself. There you go. AI can now replace your teacher as well. So I'm just tapering this other hole. Luckily, the net does not exist in anything other than the 3 dimensions we currently occupy. Right. So I should be able to... That's installed now. So I need to see if I can find the virtual keyboard on here. Keyboard, yay. There we go. I've now got a keyboard on it. That'll do. So I don't need the big keyboard in there anymore. I can put the little keyboard back in there and I'll finish off that base tomorrow. I need to find my... it'll be in the end of this. No, I pulled it off that. So I've got to put this face down. So I've got Bluetooth keyboard support inside. Next version of this will have a port on the outside. It's going to go this way round. And this will go on top. I need to zoom out on this one. There we go. So there we go. That's the bit that will hold the screen in place. So I just need to get some short screws now and screw it into place. And you notice that the device has been running pretty much, though this is a Raspberry Pi 1. I had a Raspberry Pi 2, but it broke, so I had to drop back a version. I will be upgrading this hopefully tomorrow to a Raspberry Pi 3A+. There is Bluetooth, yes, Bluetooth, and there is Bluetooth and there is Wi-Fi enabled. I just haven't set either of them up. Yep, the battery, this is a 1200 milliamp hour battery, so I should get at least a couple of hours out of it, especially if it's using a Raspberry Pi Zero W. So I'm going to screw this in now. Of course, the next iteration of this will be a game machine. I plan to extend out the sides, so we'll have some game controllers and stuff on it. That will be another generation of this. Trying to pick out small screws from my collection of them. I need to get some more 2mm. I seem to go through most of those. And just like that, I have myself a tablet. So as you can see, it's designed to look like a screen, so it's not even on both sides. This will kind of flip in. If you want a Raspberry Pi, they are currently in stock. It's the Raspberry Pi 3A Plus. You can get it on Pimeroni, and you can get it on I'm running Chrome. I'm going to reboot it, it'll be quicker. So if you head over to Pimeroni, you can grab another Raspberry Pi. I've already bought 2 of them. Right, let's reboot that one. Right. So, Raspberry Pis. I'll point you at this screen. And center that there. So, as I say, Pimeroni currently have the 3A in stock. I'm typing on the wrong keyboard. Let's take that one away. I'm going to sell my Pi on the second-hand market to buy a Panasonic Toughbook. You know what? You probably could. So let's move that over there. Pimeroni.com. This is the Raspberry Pi I'm talking about. It's the A Plus version. It's currently in stock. So it's smaller than the B, quad core, half a gig of RAM, USB, full size HDMI, micro USB power in. It's got audio out, and it's got full size display and camera inputs. 3D printing for what you have printed for the Pi tonight costs a lot. No, I mean this thing 3D printed probably cost me about £2 maximum, and that's me overestimating it. Yep, the 3A Plus would make a Kodi box. It would make a RetroPie machine. It's a little underpowered for things like word processing and desktop use, but it would work. So yeah, like I say, those are on Pimeroni. They're currently £28, which is a lot cheaper than anything else right now. So if I bring up accessories, keyboard, and let's see if I can get my web browser up. So let's see if LulaKit runs well. I checked the Pi Hut, they just don't have any Raspberry Pis in stock right now. It seems to halve the amount of space on the screen for some reason. So this matchbox thing needs to, there we go. I'll bring this down so you can see what I'm doing a bit more clearly. That's the other thing this could be used for, is a little Steam box. I could put Steam link on here. Yeah, I'm waiting for the Raspberry Pi 2.0 to come back in stock as well. But having said that, this is basically the same thing. It's just a little bit bigger. It's identical specs to the Raspberry Pi 2W. They say microprocessors contain energy inside them with no electricity. I've never heard that before. I find it very unlikely. Having said that, everything has electricity in it in the form of electrons. And what creates electricity is not the electrons themselves, but the movement and flow of electrons. So from that perspective, yes, it's full of energy. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I quite like this sort of simple black and white panda aesthetic. Let's see if Thonny loads up well. And remember, guys, there's nothing stopping you using it in landscape. It doesn't have to be in portrait mode. So put a little hinge on the back, put a keyboard under it, and you've got a tiny laptop. But that's quite okay to edit Thonny on. I need to get a USB port on the side here, which again I will be doing tomorrow when I redesign the case and install this. That way I can access this port, and I'll be able to access the devices I want to code with it. And this will eventually become a coder. Everyone keeps asking me about the Flipper Zero. I have no idea what I'd even do with it. The full production cost of this cost me $35 for the display. The original price of the Pi I got for 15 quid. No, this is a Pi Zero. So I got this for a tenner. That would be £45. Battery was £9.90. Ran that to a tenner. That would be £55. Yeah, about £55. And the Lipo circuit was another £6 on that. So call it about £65. I am a developer, yes. But I really have no reason to use the Flipper because I've got a Raspberry Pi. It will do everything it does. It just lacks the cute little dolphin Tamagotchi everyone seems to be obsessed with. I have been running this battery for the entire stream. And I think I'm coming up to about an hour and a half on the stream right now. And I will say that this battery was not fully charged when I started. Have you ever developed a discard bot? No, but I did develop this, which is a live chat on my Raspberry Pi, so I can read everything you guys are saying, and it gives me a list of all my gifts as well. And I've actually got 2 live streams going at the same time. Both of them are logged in on my Raspberry Pi, so I can view the chats. I'm a GUI developer. I use C++ and PyQt. What about you? I'm mostly a web developer. I will go for HTML, Node.js, and build my my GUIs through web browsers normally. And I said, you use some sort of API? Yes, I did use an API. I believe I used TikTok Scraper, which is a Python extension. What's the other TikTok page I'm live on? That would be Foreman Tech. So you can see that one there, at Foreman Tech. TikTok does not have an official API, but that does not mean the community did not immediately make one. So it's part of the open source community. TikTok doesn't have IRC like Twitch, not that I'm aware of. I'm just using a web scraper. Hey, how's it going? So yeah, like I say, this will eventually be something that I will use to code my Raspberry Pi Picos. This will be a portable Pico coder. This screen, I got it on a Black Friday deal, so you might want to wait until Cyber Monday. If you go on the Pimeroni website, they might drop it down to 35 quid, which is what I spent on this. I think it's gone up to about £50 again now. But you can get cheaper ones if you look around. It'll just take a bit more work to get it running. one of the things I need to work out how to do on this now is some kind of battery indicator. So I need to find a way of getting a voltage off the battery and see how it's going. Could you give a little explanation of what is used firmware? I'm pretty confused. Of what is a firmware? Right, firmware is actually best demonstrated on a Pipe Eco. So if I grab one of my little Pipe Ecos, it's basically software that sits on the hardware itself, and it's the first thing that is used to initialize the hardware, if that makes any sense. So it carries on board the electronics, not its own, like the hard drive or the operating system. It's what comes before the operating system. So if I have this, where's my Pipe Ecos? Don't know where I put those in. Ah, there they are. They're right in front of me. I'm just blind. So this is a Raspberry Pi Pico. It has 264 kilobytes of storage, which is absolutely tiny. And what it does is it allows you to flash code onto it, and then that will allow the hardware to be accessed via other pieces of software. Did that make any sense? I'm probably not explaining that very well. But it's basically software that sits on hardware and gives you access to that hardware. BIOS is part of the firmware, yes. Yeah, exactly. It's the first software the chip will call upon. You could think of it as almost a set of instructions that software can access to find things out. Now, it used to be a case that firmware was something that was baked onto the chip, and you could not change it without a chip programmer. But these days we have chip programs built into these devices. So all I've got to do is hold down this button, drag over a UF2 file, that would then become the firmware of this particular device. Can install Kai on it? I haven't tried. I don't know if there's a Kali version for the Raspberry Pi. There probably is. My first computer was a Dragon 32. Could never get it working. My father had the same issue. He also had the same machine. But he did love the fact that he could do digitized voice recordings. Thank you, Jacob, for your rose. Sorry I missed you earlier. So the bootstrap phase is the software that sits on the RAM to initialize the OS every time you turn it on. Yeah, that's good enough. I think he means phase, which will be PH. Is Banana Pi yes, Banana Pis are comparable to Raspberry Pis. Can't guarantee all the same software and libraries work with them, but I think the Banana Pis are traditionally faster than Raspberry Pis. Right, so I need to make the lip of this lower because, oh no, it's because the screen is lower. Let's try gently tapping that down. Yeah, so I need to raise that side of the screen so it's more flush because I'm having trouble sort of getting my finger into really accurate places, but it's not too bad. Another one that is comparable with the Raspberry Pi would be the Orange Pi. They do a bunch of them. Odroid and Pine 64. At some point, I plan to get some Pine 64s, and Le Potato is another one. So there are plenty of alternatives to Raspberry Pi if you can't get your hands on them. And if I could just make enough money on TikTok, I would go out and buy a bunch of them and show you all how to use them, but they don't like paying their creators. Best Christmas gift for developers. It depends on the developer. It depends what they're into. If they like building hardware like this, Raspberry Pis are fantastic. If they are more into their gaming PCs, then I would leave it alone, because they're probably the type to buy everything they want anyway. So for that kind, you're probably better off just giving them money and say spend it on your hardware. It's amazing how nanotech tech has gone from the ZX81 to Sinclair to what we now have to quantum physics. I agree. I was using a BBC Master, and I once had a TikTok user said to me, "You do not appreciate the miniaturization of electronics." And I literally said to them, my first machine was an Atari 400. Yes, there are some Raspberry Pi 3As back in stock. So you can find these on Pi Moroni at the moment. They cost £28.50. I would just close Visual Studio and open Apex Legends. Rock Pi is another one that's really good. Yeah. I tend to avoid the ones that go on AliExpress. That can be a little bit dodgy. So I think Le Potato offers worldwide shipping. I know Pine 64 does. So these guys will offer some decent alternatives. They're based on rock chip as well. So you can head over to Pine 64. They will make something like an open source Chromebook replacement if you want. So if you want to run Linux instead of Chrome OS, they offer one for $219. They have single board computers. I'm going to go onto this store because it tends to be a bit better listed there. Oh no, that is their store. I'm thinking of another thing. They also do things like the Pi Time, which is a wearable smartwatch you can develop yourself. So a Pi Time smartwatch for 26 quid if you want to make yourself one. You get yourself a twin pack here for 51 quid. That's probably worth having some fun with. My opinion on this is one of the best computers I own, hands down. Love the thing. It's not the most powerful, but it takes me right back to my childhood where everything was under the keyboard. But yeah, this is my go-to Pi for everything, as you can see right here. Right now you can see I've got cables in it. That's because I've been installing sensors and playing around with all sorts of hardware projects. So Pine Time, Pine Time, that's one I want to get my hands on at some point. What else was it? Single board computers. So we got the Pine. If you look for anything with LTS, that means a long-term supply. So they're doing the A64 LTS V2 board, Pine 64. It's a bit bigger than a normal Raspberry Pi, I think. But it's got lots of connections and lots of abilities to do things. It comes with 2 gig of onboard LP DDR3. It's got a quad-core ARM Cortex A53, which I think is about on par with the Raspberry Pi 3. It's basically got everything you need to start tinkering with. I was thinking of getting into Pis. It just seems really a nice starting point. They are. I mean, the advantage of Raspberry Pi is there's a lot of tutorials and support and people who own them. They are a very good source of education. And like I say, right now, if you want to buy one, you can pick one up on Pi Moroni for £28.50. Right there. They'll give you the power supplies and everything else you need, and this will be fine for turning into like a little games console. It's got a full HDMI out. Set it up as a TV player, Kodiad or whatever. There's plenty of things you can do with it. This entire tablet here is running on a Pi Zero, which is a single core processor with only half a gig of RAM. It tends to slow down when you put things like Chromium on it, but you know what Google Chrome is like for, you know, taking lots and lots of memory. There are lighter. Oh yes, I was going to try the lighter one. So if I go to that and LunaKit, I should probably bring that back down now. There we go. So I'm now loading LunaKit, which is a lighter web browser. It does seem to get quite slow when it does web browsing. I'm not sure why. It might also be the Wi-Fi, to be fair. Oh, it's downloading something. Oh, that's why. If you look right at the bottom, it's grabbing something from GitHub. So there you go. LunaKit, fast, extensible, customizable web browser. I think it's still loading the page. Yeah, not sure about that one. First time I've loaded it, got to spend some more time with it. But there are other ones I can use as well. Why does it have incognito? Why does what have incognito? Do you have knowledge on car computing? Not really. Actually, I don't even have a license, to be honest. Oh, I've had a lot of gifts from people. Thank you for that. I'm sorry I've only just noticed them. I need to spread that out a bit so I can see what people are sending me. But you know what? Everyone's talking about the flipper. I'm pretty sure that with some redesigning, I could turn this into a flipper device. I suspect it will be more powerful. I want to create a Pi which serves as a VPN between router and modem. Is there any particular reason you want to put a VPN between your router and your modem? That doesn't make much sense to me. SSH into the Pi and run top when running the browser. I can run top and I can call up I know the memory usage is going to be terrible. Accessories, keyboard. So top. Yeah, I'll type that in correctly. There you go. So there's the top stats for anyone who wants to read it. Maybe he wants to hide Pi in McDonald's somewhere and use their Wi-Fi as a VPN. Possible, I suppose. Is there a heartbeat notification app for the Pi? Probably, don't know, never looked into it. I do know there is a heartbeat sensor you can buy for the Pi, and there is a Python program you can run, because I did that earlier today. Where is it? Where's my box of tricks? There's my box of tricks. So in here I have some sensor boards, and one of these will be, that's a time of flight, that's my temperature sensor, this is my 3-axis, This is my 6 degrees of freedom. This is my color sensor. So where is my... there it is. So you might recognize when you look at this close that looks very much like the sensor you'll find on a smartwatch. This is, oh no, this is time of flight. I got the wrong one. I'm sorry. They do look quite similar. That's a color sensor. That's that one. So where has my... there we go. Right, sorry about that. So yeah, this is the, as you can see, the sensor looks very similar to the other one I just showed you. But this is what you'll find at the bottom of a smartwatch. Basically shines a light and detects the pulses of veins and stuff to detect heart rate. It will test heart rate, the level of oxygen in your blood, and smoke in the atmosphere. Would you have a neuron link from Elon? I will not have any technology implanted in my brain unless it's seriously needed for medical purposes. I am quite capable of reading a phone screen. I don't need Facebook sending me adverts directly into my brain 12 o'clock at night. And you know that is where that kind of tech will end up. So that's not too bad actually. You've got 123 megabytes free of RAM. So maybe if I run the other web browser now, we'll see how the memory usage goes. Yep, so that just chewed up another 20 meg of RAM, dropped down to 91, that's 30 meg gone, another 10 gone. Oh no, it's coming back. Oh, there we go. Maybe it was just the first run that made it so slow. That's not bad. It's only used about 40, maybe 50 meg of RAM. You should be worried about how AIs are evolving. Once they reach human levels, why do you need humans anymore? And once they hit human levels, because they're machines and they don't tire, they could happily replace us. Is it still loading something? I think I need a different web browser. This one isn't much good. Right, let's install a new web browser. Preferences, add remove software. Is Ubuntu alternative is for Raspberry Pi? If you're asking does Ubuntu run on the Raspberry Pi, yes it will. Internet. Loading cache. I caught a UFA on my night scope and they use plasma physics. Okay. Thank you for the TikTok note. Yeah, it's kind of scary, actually, a real thing. Not that smart, yet it exists. The trouble is, I find quite a lot of human beings not that smart either. So I would say in many ways AI does have some advantages over human. Web server, web mail. Interesting. Weblog, Bluefish. Used Bluefish before. Let's try Firefox. Let's see if Firefox is any better. Oh, it's called Iceweasel on this, isn't it? I'm being quite gentle with the screen because I'm aware it's not fully fixed down yet. I'm not listening to music now. I've also been wondering where could I buy some Raspberry Pi that are always sold out. Right now is a good night for you to ask me that question because I know where you can get some. Do you want to buy more than one? Is the question. If you want to buy one, head over to Pi Moroni. If you want to buy more than one, head over to Rapid Online. There you go. So Pi Moroni are currently offering the Raspberry Pi 3A Plus, which comes with half a gig of RAM and a quad-core processor. It's the only thing available in the UK right now. If you're outside the UK, look for rpilocator.com and it will give you a list of countries and Raspberry Pi stock. So as you can see right now, Rapid is offering them for 25 quid. Pi Moroni is offering them for £28.50. So, and if you're in any of these other countries, you can buy them from here. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. One of the things I need to add to the next generation of this is a, you're welcome, is a set of speakers. But eventually this is, let's face it, it's going to evolve into a little gaming console at some point. Put some little triggers on this side, put some little triggers on this side. I will probably run them through the Pi Pico. Or build them in directly. I might use a Pi Pico simply because I can use firmware to emulate an Xbox 360 or higher controller. It's taking a while to search the word net, isn't it? Come on, cancel. Cancel. I'm bored of you now. Quicker to use terminal. Yeah, it'd be like a Nintendo Switch, except it will have Steam Link ability, so I can. I would build it in. It will be more like. Where is it? It'd be more like a PS Vita, which I do have around here somewhere. I'll design it more like one of these. This device is used for anything you want. It's literally a Raspberry Pi computer. I'm going to make two major projects. One will be a little laptop. The other is going to be a Star Trek style tricorder where I'll have multiple sensors and I can scan my environment. And I will be doing it using these collection of sensor boards right here. So all of these boards will do time of flight. They'll do magnetic direction, accelerometers, color detection, heart rate sensor, smoke detection, all that kind of stuff. I'm not doing anything to the PSP. It just sits there doing nothing these days. Yeah, I mean, the Raspberry Pi is literally a Linux computer, so it can do anything Linux can. The only limitations is your expectations and imagination. I think this has been running for about 2 hours now on battery, so that's not bad. This is the top broadcast I've seen today. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. I'll be doing a few more over Christmas because my wife is in another country. No, I got the joke. I just decided to ignore it. You think RPi is easier to use than Linux? It is Linux. This is literally Debian. There is no, easier than Linux because that's what it is. Unless, of course, you mean RetroPie. If that's what you mean by RPi, then yeah, I mean, if you want to do emulation, then yeah. Does whatever you want it to, except play audio. I haven't got the audio circuits hooked up yet. It will browse the web. It will allow you to program things. Once I give it access to the outside world with a USB port here, I'll be able to program other devices with it. It's basically a little tablet I made myself using a Raspberry Pi Zero W and a power circuit there that needs to be fixed and screwed in. And you see it's got a USB Type-C connector there. Right now I'm using that little power switch there. So yes, it's just it's a Raspberry Pi. It's a portable Raspberry Pi. One of the things I may do on this later is install Steam Link, actually. Would it be possible to make a Pi interact with a vehicle CAN bus system? I've no idea. I've never tried. You would have to ask questions like, what's the interface on the vehicle CAN bus? Does it use USB? Does it allow you to communicate via COM? Once you know the communication standards, then you can effectively communicate between anything. Sorry, I'm late. That's okay. I just had to Google what a Raspberry Pi was. LOL, learn something new every day. Yeah, I mean, if you want to see a couple of Raspberry Pis, I have them in boxes here. So this is a Raspberry Pi Zero W. This is what is inside this powering the screen. And they come in different versions. This one does not have Wi-Fi. This one does have Wi-Fi. You can get little hats for them, like this Pirate Audio board. You literally just connect it to the pins on the top here, and you'll get a nice high quality audio out with a little display. You can get bigger versions of the Raspberry Pi, like this Raspberry Pi 4. Whoops-a-daisy. So this is a Raspberry Pi 4, about the size of a credit card in basic dimensions. Same sort of hat features, plenty of USB ports, runs Linux, runs off an SD card down there. And if you want to get really, really big, then this is my Pi 400. So this is a Raspberry Pi built into a keyboard layout. I've modified it to run a little USB hard drive inside it. And yeah, so this is the most expensive Raspberry Pi you can get versus the cheapest Raspberry Pi you can get. And if you also want to get into microelectronics, you can get these sort of Arduino style RP2040 microcontroller boards as well. Nowhere near as powerful as a Raspberry Pi, but great for IoT projects. This block does not come with them. I 3D printed that myself. Basically to prevent things like this happening when I ran over it with my office chair. But they also come without pins like this, so you can just attach via crocodile clips and basically make electronic circuits. You can set up VGA on this, audio out, whatever your deranged imagination can think of, you can achieve it with this. And before you ask the question, yes, it can run Doom. You're welcome. They're quite hard to get hold of right now. If you fancy buying one, the best place is a website called Pimeroni. You can pick one up for £28. It's called the Raspberry Pi 3A+. I've got a couple of them on order. So if you check back on my channel tomorrow or the day after, you'll probably find a video on it. Still wouldn't use Raspberry Pi for playing games. Well, that's your loss, mate, because I have used the Raspberry Pi for playing games, and it's fine. In fact, if you look in my video history, you'll find that I made a small games console out of it, and I managed to run Skyrim using Steam Link. Where are you from? Your accent is amazing. I'm British, so I was born around Canterbury. I do occasionally play Skyrim. Where can I get an 8 gig Pi 4 at a good price? You can't. Unless you want to buy an entire kit, you can't. Right now we are suffering a major Raspberry Pi shortage, unfortunately. So the 3+A or the 3A Plus is the best you're going to get right now. Unless you want to start paying scalper prices, in which case you'll be paying £200-300 and the 8 gig Raspberry Pi 4 is not worth it. Wait until they get it back under control. So there you go. There's the Raspberry Pi 3A Plus you can buy for £28.50. You could put Android on your pan. No. I want to keep the full power of Linux. I am going to investigate some Linux with some touch interfaces though, because I have to admit Raspbian is a bit finicky. In fact, this is going to be a coding tablet at some point. I have got it hooked up to this keyboard. When I find the membrane to this keyboard, I've misplaced it. I will put it on top of the thing, and I've literally glued the battery onto the bottom. And if I turn it on now, you'll see that it does actually interact with the Raspberry Pi. I've got a little mouse movement on it. I just got to print out the case, put the letters on it, and this will be, it can be a little laptop. And one of the reasons I went for one of these keyboards, you can buy them for like a tenner on Amazon, is because it comes with its own independent power supply. So I'm not draining the battery on the Raspberry Pi. It's got an independent battery on here. It is small, it's 4 inches. If I hold it up to a Samsung 10E, you'll see that it is quite a small display. I believe this is about a 6-inch display. This is a 4-inch display. But being small is half the fun. I'm not claiming it's going to be any more use than another tablet, but it's a fun project to make. Everything is 3D printed. Everything was designed by myself. Yeah, it can hold. I mean, this has a 1,200 milliamp hour battery. I expect about 3 hours of battery life. I have not plugged this into the wall since I started this stream, and I think that was about 2 hours and something ago. I'll find out when I stop the stream and download it. But like I say, I just don't want to put any extra stress, because these come with batteries anyway. I can also swap it over to other devices, so it doesn't just have to be with this Raspberry Pi if I don't want it to be. Set it up with my television if I want. It's just about being able to mix and match equipment. But yeah, you can get battery packs up to 10,000 milliamp hours if you want, and I expect you to get a full day's usage out of this then. I think you can anyway. I'm going to double check on the Pi Moroni website. So Lipo is the name of the battery packs. There you go. So you can get yourself an 8800 milliamp battery, which is about twice the size of the battery that comes in this. Now, I don't mean physical size, I mean capacity. And it's only 21 quid. This is the one I bought. No, this isn't the one I bought. This is the one I bought. So for £9.99, this is the one I bought. No, that's a 2000 milliamp, so I did get one that was a bit smaller than that. But anyway, there's plenty of batteries you can shove in there. It depends what you want to do with it. I don't expect myself to be using these things all day. Oh, geez, that's a big one, isn't it? 3400 milliamp hour battery. So yes, you can put a lot of bigger battery in here if you wanted to. I'd have to extend the case somewhat. Probably not too much though. I'll probably only add another half centimetre or centimetre to it. So yeah, I mean, that's about it now. This has been made. This is the first prototype. I've still got some work to do. As you can see, it's lifting up on the corner there. Things aren't quite as flat as they need to be, so I need to actually build some better supports inside to hold up the hardware properly. But once I've managed that, it should be a nice flush case. I will release a list of components. I will allow people to download the designs of this so they can make their own. And I'm just going to call it the Thumb Pi, because you control it by your thumb. Because this is a Pi Zero, it just doesn't draw that much power. It's only got a 700 megahertz processor in it, so it will do retro gaming just fine. It'll probably last a good couple of hours for that. But if you want really long retro gaming life, then yeah, just grab yourself a 3400 milliamp hour battery pack. It'll probably last you all week. Now, this will start to lose some battery life in the future when I move over to a Raspberry Pi 3A+, because they do draw 1.5 amps at full power, whereas I think this will only draw about 200 to 300 milliamps. So from that point of view, this is a lot more power efficient, but it's also not the fastest thing in the world because you've only got a single core 700 megahertz processor. I have looked at trying to overclock it, and it basically doesn't let you go over 700 hertz, or megahertz, I should say. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about this right now. It's built, it's running. Thank you everyone for joining my live tonight. I think I'm going to go rest my voice because I'm getting quite hoarse. I will be uploading this live onto my YouTube channel, which you can find at youtube.com/@CKenthusiast. Thank you for the follow. And you will be able to watch the full live there if you want, as well as other lives I've done as soon as I've edited it together. So yes, I do have a YouTube channel. It's only just started. It will be hopefully growing. But like I say, it's I'll show you on screen. It's youtube.com/@CKenthusiast. And before I continue to YouTube, fine, I'll sell you my soul. Go on. You'll find my channel there. I've only got about 650 odd subscribers. Oh, I'm nearly up to 700 now. So I'm going to get this channel going. I will do it. But as you can see, I've got my last live stream has gone online. So you can watch that one as well. This one dealt with all the sensors you can load. And that's about it, really. That's the wrong one. This video is the one I wanted. There we go. So I've had 5 views on my other live, but if you want to catch on my other live, then I have it uploaded here. So feel free to watch that. Thank you for sending me roses. I really appreciate it. I will start editing this video and get it up within the next few hours. And that's it. So thank you, Ruby, for sending me roses. Thank you, everyone, for following me this evening. I hope you'll check out and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. I want to produce more detailed tutorials on that. Again, thank you, everyone, for watching. Have a really great night and have a fantastic Christmas if I don't see you before then. Good night, everyone.